But, with the win last night, is it too little, too late for the Minnesota Timberwolves? Now, I said it yesterday, right? I called Anthony Edwards. I called him to the stage, right? I said, is he going to take the challenge and guard Luka one-on-one? And for me, it wasn't about, will he do a better job guarding him one-on-one, even though I do think he's a good on-ball defender. He's a really good on-ball defender. Jaden McDaniels is too. However, when it comes to getting certain calls and letting physicality go, a referee is more likely to let physicality go when it's another star, right? When it's Jaden McDaniels, they might call quick fouls, make him loosen it up a little bit. All of a sudden, Luka gets to play with the ball and get his shit off. But now that it's Anthony Edwards applying pressure, and he's also probably gotten to watch how Jaden McDaniels has guarded him, is now able to make adjustments. We saw the referees be a little bit more loose with the physicality last night. And, I think a part of it, and I'll get into this in a second, I think it would be in the NBA's best interest if this series continues. I'll just say that for now. But, they did let some physicality go because Anthony Edwards is also a star. But he paid for it. 5 fouls, right? 5 fouls, but at least not all of them. He did have a really bad frustration foul towards the end of the game. But, Cat had like 2 or 3 just nonsensical, brain-dead fucking fouls. And when you're trying to come back, you cannot have that shit. You just cannot have that shit. And 10 turnovers between your 2 star players is also not going to get the job done. It's not going to get the job. You guys have to be better with the basketball. You have to be better with it. Like, Luka is dribbling the ball the entire shot clocks, and the motherfucker has 3 turnovers. Like, you have to be better with the ball. But the other adjustment that I saw was Anthony Edwards was a lot more aggressive towards the mid-range, or at the mid-range. And this is another thing I was calling for. It's what's open. Dallas leaves it open. They're still a statistical driven team, right? Not to the extent of the Houston Rockets or the way Daryl Morey did shit, but they still believe in 3 points and layups, which is pretty much how Luka plays. Getting to the free throw line is just a natural way that Luka plays. And then on defense, they play a lot of the drop coverage so that they can get to the rim and prevent layups. So the mid-range is open. And I was saying that because Shea had exploited it against these guys for 6 games? Shea is scoring 30 points a game from just scoring at the mid-range. So, Edwards is forcing to get his way to the paint. Wasn't working all the time. He needed to hit some mid-range shots. He finally did that. So we actually saw him have some success finally. But for me, it's too little too late. Not just because history says so. No team has ever come back from 3-0. But because even last night, it felt like Dallas was going to win that game. And it took some big shots, right? It took this Anthony Edwards shot. And if I'm being honest, like if you're the Timberwolves, he's got a good 3-point shot, but you can live with this. Or I mean, I guess that was a long two, but you could live with those long shots. Like it's at the end of the day, like he's got to still prove that he's gonna hit those shots. And he was hitting mid-range shots last night. Like, is Cat just gonna keep hitting these shots? He had another one over here, bro. Like, he was hitting some crazy shots, man. Look at this dunk. But yeah, so when it comes to whether the Timberwolves can come back or not, yeah, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that at all. Um, I think Minnesota. I think the Mavericks adjust. I think they're gonna start trapping. They're gonna start trapping Anthony Edwards higher and force the ball out of his hand. I think Minnesota also found the Kyle Anderson adjustment too late. Right? They should have. Had they found that Kyle Anderson would be a factor in this series earlier, it could have made a difference. Putting Anthony Edwards on Luka earlier could have made a difference, but here we are. Um, Let me see here. Yeah, I don't expect Kyrie to shoot that poorly again. Yeah, so I still think that Dallas puts this away. But, like Anthony Edwards said, he had some pride. He didn't want to get swept. He hasn't been swept in his career, so he still has that. He still has that. Um, yeah, it was still like your two stars played great, and it was still a 5-point game, and they had a chance. So I don't see it. I don't see it going much further.